People keep asking me what I think about their citation count, and some people, on the other hand, worry that they do not have enough citation. Here is what I would say. Citations are not the sole determinant for an EB1A approval petition. While they can demonstrate the impact and recognition of your work, USCIS primarily seeks evidence of original contribution of major significance in your field. This can be proven through various means, such as high impact publications, award, or practical utility of your works by others. Applicants with few or no citation can still succeed by showcasing their other achievements, like publication in prestigious journals, industry impact, or endorsement from notable experts. A strong EB1A application balances citation with other evidence to present a compelling narrative of extraordinary ability. Hey everyone, are you working on your EB1A petition and wondering if citation alone are enough to see the deal? Well, today I am breaking down why citations, while important, aren't the real deal when it comes to proving extraordinary ability. Keep in mind that in the world of academic and professional recognition, citations are a powerful metrics that can help you demonstrate sustained and national or even international acclaim. If you are applying for a recognition-based immigration petition like the EB1 or the O1 visa, or looking to establish your credibility in a particular field, the number and nature of your citation can serve as strong evidence of your impact in a particular field. In this video, I will guide you through how to leverage your citation count to show sustained national acclaim, on how to demonstrate that others have relied on your work to advance their own argument. I will also talk about how you can successfully demonstrate evidence of your original scientific, scholarly, artistic, athletic, or business-related contributions of major significance to the field. I would also look at this criterion from the USCIS policy manual so that we can understand what they are really asking for. In addition, I will also look at AU appeals to understand USCIS kickback so that you can learn how to avoid the mistakes other petitioners have made. I would also discuss how you can leverage your number of citations to your advantage so that you can go on to get your approval. Citations are great. They show how your work has influenced others in your field. They are particularly relevant for researchers and academics, especially under criteria like sustained national or international acclaim, or published material about your work or originality. But here is the catch. USCIS doesn't just look at numbers, but you and I can look at the bigger picture. To win an EB1A petition, you need a multifaceted approach. USCIS wants to see original contributions of major significance, not just citations. For example, have you judged the works of others? Have you won prestigious awards? Have you been invited to speak at top conferences? This achievement can sometimes outweigh citation counts, and they count towards the final merit determination. Also, let's look inside the USCIS policy manual. So we are looking today at the criterion 5, which is the person's original scientific, scholarly, artistic, athletic, or business-related contributions of major significance in the field. Now, USCIS is careful to add the word major because they are looking for something major. Because if you are saying that you have extraordinary ability in a particular field, you have to demonstrate that you have published work that have contributed majorly in your field. And first, USCIS determines whether the person have made original contributions in the field. Second, USCIS determines whether the original contributions are of major significance in the field. These are the first two things they look at. Examples of relevant evidence include, but are not limited to, published materials about the significance of the person's original work, testimonials, letters, and affidavits about the person's original work, documentation that the person's original work was cited at a level indicative of major significance in the field, and patents or licenses deriving from the person's work, or major evidence of commercial use of the person's work. Consideration. Analysis under this criterion focuses on whether the person's original work constitutes major significant contributions to the field. Evidence that the person's work was funded, patented, or published, while potentially demonstrating the person's originality, will not necessarily establish on its own that the work is of major significance to the field. For example, published research that have provoked widespread commentary on its importance from others working in the field, and documentation that it has been highly cited relative to others' work in that field, may be probative of the significance of the person's contributions to the field of endeavor. Similarly, evidence that the persons develop a patented technology that has attracted significant attention or commercialization may establish the significance of the person's original contribution to the field. If a patent remains pending, USCIS generally requires additional supportive evidence to document the originality of the person's contribution, such as detailed reference letters. Detailed letters from experts in the field explaining the nature and significance of the person's contribution may also provide valuable context for evaluating the claimed original contributions of major significance, particularly when the record includes documentation corroborating the claimed significance. Submitted letters should also specifically describe the person's contribution and its significance to the field, and should also set forth the basis of the writer's knowledge and expertise. Now, if I will want to discuss this USCIS policy manner, I will want you to understand that they are saying that, okay, for example, you have a patent and the patent is pending, that you should also be able to give them letters of recommendation that could explain what is the original contribution of that patent. But I will tell you that I recently worked with someone who had a patent, and the patent was still pending. But what we did, we collated everything that the person used to apply for that patent and used that to show that the work is original based on several patents that are not doing the same thing as what that person was, applying the patent for. And that was one way you could use to meet this criterion. But we also want you to understand that USCIS is looking for documentation to show that your work is highly cited relative to others in the field. Now, if USCIS is saying that you should show them that your work is highly cited, it means that you have to provide documentation where you are doing a comparative analysis saying that in 10 persons who have published in the same journal, for example, they have let me use an example, 50 citations looking at their work that have been published in, let me say, Journal of Cleaner Energy. And from 2019 to 2025, that the person with the highest citation in that said journal had 50 citations, and your work have like 40 citations. That is actually evidence to show that your work has sparked a widespread citation. But keep in mind that USCIS is not only looking for a widespread citation, and I will talk about it when I look at the administrative appeals later in this video. I would ask you to stick around as I will be discussing that part later in this video. That USCIS also look at how can you demonstrate that others have relied on your work to advance your argument. That if other persons are citing your work, that is enough evidence to show that other persons have relied on your work. But it is not intuitive. You have to show it, because the EB1A and the EB2 NIW, it's all about evidence. That if you're not giving USCIS evidence, it is as good as going on record without providing evidence to show that you have achieved a sustained national acclaim, or your work is of original based on your major contributions in the field. So what else matters? Let's take a look. Quality over quantity. Citation in high impact journals matter more than shared numbers. 2. Testimonial letters. Strong endorsement from experts in your field can make or break your case. Now, 3. Comparable evidence, as I've talked about. If citations don't apply to your field, use other proofs like patent or industry recognition. Now, let's move forward to look at a sample non-precedent decision of the Administrative Appeals Office. And this sample is coming from the Appeal of Nebraska Service Center decision. The petitioner, a provider of financial and business data and news, seeks to classify the beneficiary as an area of extraordinary ability in the field of artificial intelligence. So let's keep that in mind, that this person is a researcher in the field of artificial intelligence. And let's move forward to see what the issue was, because we need to understand why is USCIS deciding to not grant this individual the EB1A approval. So let's go straight in this record. They are giving us the rebuttal on the final merit determination. The record indicates that the beneficiary worked in AI has been concentrated in the subfields of natural language processing and machine learning, and that he continues to focus his work in these areas with the petitioner. On appeal, petitioner asserts that the beneficiary has made 3 main contributions in these areas during the course of his studies and in his employ. The first involved the participation in his participation in the development of natural language processing, which took place during the employment as a research team. Now, let me skip that. Let me move forward, and you'll see that the petitioner asserts on appeal that the paper presented at blank in 2016 remains among the publication's top 30 most cited articles. Although the evidence referenced by the petitioner indicates that this paper was cited on 597 occasions, and they put a link on a footnote, and the footnote says that this paper had 909 citations as at September 1, 2020 per the beneficiary's Google Scholar profile. Now, let's keep that in mind, because if a citation has 909 citations, that is exactly what USCIS is looking for. But you and I are going to understand that this is not the case as per this particular rebuttal that we are looking at. So that I want us to take note, so that you and I could learn from this mistake that this petitioner make, and how you could, improve on your petition if you are still writing, or how you're going to make sure that you leverage on this mistake to make a credible petition for yourself. So let me move on. Although the evidence referenced by the petitioner indicates that this paper was cited on 597 occasions by other researchers as of the date of the petition was filed, and that it substantially exceeds blank's H5 median score, it does not support the assertion that it is among the blank top 30 most cited articles. It is by far the most highly cited of the beneficiaries' published papers, and this figure by itself indicates that many researchers in the field of AI have used his paper in support of their own research in some way. But the record does not include evidence which demonstrates whether or how other researchers have applied or built upon the beneficiary's work, or that the framework has been implemented by others in the field, and thus does not show the nature or degree of impact this work has had in the field of AI, or the level of recognition the beneficiary has received because of it. Now, if you look at the argument that USCIS is making, you would understand that they are saying that they are not disagreeing with the number of citations that this petitioner has, but they are saying that you did not give us metrics, you did not give us evidence to demonstrate that indeed is actually one of the top cited paper in your field. I think that what this petitioner could have done differently is that they could go ahead, provide evidence that look at the number of person, look at this person's citation, look at from the journal, and look at from the citation score, look at from metrics from Google. This is to show you that my paper ranks among the top 10 citations according to these metrics that I'm providing you. And USCIS is saying that they failed to give USCIS that evidence that other persons have relied on the work to advance their argument, or they have implemented the research. That is to say that if at all you have citation, and I want you to keep this in mind, that if you have, let's say, 1,000 citation, it doesn't mean anything to USCIS. You have to give USCIS evidence to show that other persons have relied on your work to advance the argument that it is not about the number of citations, it is about how persons or how individuals or researchers have relied on your work or have used your work to advance the argument in your field. And I say that with no apology because I've seen a lot of people who just publish some work and they have gathered a lot of citation. That if you are gathering citation, be sure to give USCIS how other persons have relied on your work to advance the argument. If not, those number of citations are going to be useless when you're writing your EB1A petition. Now let's move forward. In addition, the petitioner also refers to evidence of the importance of the blank conference in the field of AI. This includes a list from the Google Scholar website showing that it ranks second in the field of AI in terms of H5 index and H5 median, terms which reflects that a certain number of articles published by that medium has been cited the same number of times in the past 5 years. In addition, Blank states in his letter that Blank is one of the primary conferences of high impact of machine learning and artificial intelligence research. However, the petitioner does not explain how this ranking affects the impact or recognition of the beneficiary's work beyond the factors discussed above. We will not assume that the paper published in a prestigious or highly ranked journal or conference proceeding is inherently more impactful or gains greater recognition than a paper published in a different medium. Now, if you look at what USCIS is saying, you would understand that if you are giving them an evidence, be sure to demonstrate how this explains or furthers your argument that you're pushing forward in your petition, because USCIS is not going to magically understand why that evidence is important to your petition. That is to say that you should take a step further to explain how this helps you to demonstrate a substantial or sustained national acclaim or international acclaim. That if you have this number of citation, how does it help you to advance your argument? I want you to think about this when you are writing your petition. Now let's talk about strategies, and here is how you can use your citations effectively. Citations serve as validations of your work, contributions to a field. The more citations your work has, the stronger the argument your research or professional contributions have influenced others. However, merely having citations is not enough. You must demonstrate their significance and relevance. There are two key aspects to focus on, in my opinion. I will tell you that one of them is qualitative impact, that is the number of times your work has been cited, and quantitative impact, which is citing your work and in what context are people be citing your work. Using your citation to demonstrate sustained national or international acclaim. To prove sustained national acclaim, follow these steps. I will tell you: compile citation metrics. Gather your citation data from sources such as Google Scholar, Scopus, or Web of Science. And I will tell you that you should highlight the total number of citations and how they have increased over time. I also want you to compare your citation count with other recognized experts in your field to establish that your impact is significant. 2. Show trends over time. Demonstrate that your work has been cited consistently over several years rather than experiencing a one-time spike. Create a citation growth graph to visually represent this sustained impact. 3. You should highlight high impact citation. Identify citation in reputable journals, government reports, policy documents, or industry standard. And I also want you to emphasize citations by authors affiliated with top institution, government agency, or well-known industry leaders. 4. Provide context on your petition or application. Instead of just stating your number of citations, explain why this number is meaningful in your field. And I also want you to use comparative data to show how your citation count ranks relatively to others in your discipline. I also want you to demonstrate that others have relied on your work. I've talked about this earlier. Beyond just counting citation, it is crucial to show that your work has influenced the field and contributed to the advancement by others. And here is how you could do that. One, identify citations where your work is central to other person's argument. Look for cases where your research is cited as a foundational reference or primary source. I also want to extract key statements where the citing authors explicitly acknowledge that your work influenced their findings, methodology, or theoretical framework. Another thing you could do is to categorize citation by type of reliance, conceptual influence. Now, your ideas or theory are used on basis of new studies. You could also do methodological influence. That is to show that your experimental or analytical approach is replicated or built upon. Or policy industry adoption, that your work is referenced in government policies, technical reports, or industry guidelines. You could also showcase case studies of influence. That is by selecting few strong citations, example where your research has directly shaped other studies or professional practices. And you could also provide excerpts from citing papers that discuss your work in detail. And also want to use citation maps or network analysis, that is to create a visual representation on how your work connects to others in your field. Also show clusters of citation to indicate thought leadership and influence. And another thing I think you should do is to strengthen your argument with expert letters. That is to reinforce your claim, obtain letters of support from experts in your field. And these letters should explain the significance of your work and its contribution to the field. And this letter should also confirm that your research has been widely cited and relied upon. That you should also provide specific examples of how your work has influenced others. And one thing I want you to do is that you could show a strong concluding, remark for your case. Another thing I think I want you to do, you should present a strong case in your conclusion statement. Citations are just more than numbers. They represent the reach and impact of your work. By systematically analyzing and presenting your citation record, you can effectively demonstrate sustained national and international acclaim that prove that others have relied on your contributions to advance their own work. And remember, citations are just one piece of the puzzle. USCIS looks for a well-rounded application that proves sustained acclaim through various achievements. If you found this video helpful, I want you to hit the like button, subscribe for more EB1A tips. And if you find this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave any questions in the comments. And I will see you in my next video. Peace.